Why don't we call it at 4:02 p.m. on Thursday, September 17th. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome Chan and Greg and anybody else, guests that are joining us. I see Dawn, Diane, Paul, Megan, welcome. Okay, Chan and Greg, I'd like you to, if you've had a chance to approve the minutes of the meeting of September 3rd, if you would, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you. Greg?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Number 3, I'd like us to consider the appointment of Paul Gone as a member of the Water Pollution Control Authority for the period beginning today through June 19th, 2025. He has, in fact, I'm holding his application, but he's been affiliated and has gone to a number of meetings and is in touch with Roger Gale. And I think, and Paul, I believe you're with us.
I'm here.
You're there. Look at that. Okay.
All right.
Well, welcome. You know, this is not an interview process per se. It's just basically, I personally, on behalf of the board, would like to thank you for offering to volunteer, because we many times we don't get a lot of volunteers. So anything you can do is very, very much appreciated. I believe the other two selectmen have a copy of the application. Is that correct?
I've read his application, and I move to appoint him.
Okay.
Approve the appointment.
All right. Chan?
And I just had a couple of quick questions. Paul, I saw in your application that you went before the board to talk about an invoice. Did you make out well with that, or how did that work out for you?
Yeah, that turned out in my favor.
Okay, no, that's good. I mean, whether it's in your favor or not, as long as you feel that they listened to you and you know,
Oh yeah,
came through a resolution, that's really what I was interested in.
yep, very good. It was very fair. Yeah, and that was a few years back.
To back up what Jay said, this is not the easiest commission in the world. There's a lot of nuts and bolts to it, and we really appreciate the fact that you're going to take the time. It's an important commission, and we're pleased that you want to help out.
Glad to do it.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to,
Do we vote on that?
yes. Yes,
I moved it.
you moved it. Chan? Second, okay. I'll vote in favor, so unanimous.
Good.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Sure. You're welcome.
Thank you, Christine. Okay, number 4, discuss town clerk's office needs for the general election. Those of you that may have gone to the last Board of Finance meeting under citizens' comments, I just made a general comment to the Board of Finance. This year, as you know, this COVID situation has affected absolutely every aspect of life. And also the primary that we had previously and the general election that's coming up in November. So the Secretary of State has dropped everything on the town clerks. And I'm going to give you a quick update about what we're doing. I kiddingly at a meeting the other day explained what the Manhattan Project was, which, you know, again, as you guys know, was the process during World War II where the United States developed the atomic bomb. And it was called the Manhattan Project. So anyway, for this situation, this general election, I'm calling it the Wahlberg Project. We have hired 4 individuals, and I just want your permission to continue with what we're doing. This is moving kind of quickly. 3 of the individuals are town employees. All of these employees will be totally working less than 29 hours a week. And these are part-time folks that already work here. The issue is that if you work 29 hours a week or less, we don't have to pay benefits, health care, insurance, pension, et cetera, et cetera. These individuals are going to be paid $15 an hour for the hours they work. And the reason I say that, it's on an as-needed basis. They'll be called in. They have all agreed evenings and weekends may be part of the deal. They're going to be doing things like stuff envelopes, data entry, opening mail, running ballots through a postage meter, assembling ballot sets, and that would involve like 6 inserts in an envelope. And as I said, this is all going to be, this is done statewide, and it's under the direction of the Secretary of State, but the town clerks, their office is doing it for each town. So it's bad enough for us in Woodstock, but places like Bridgeport, Hartford, New London, some of the larger towns, it's going to be a problem. The process, which you may be aware of, is an application will be mailed to every registered voter in the town of Woodstock. If they choose to do an absentee ballot, they will send the application back. And at that point, when it's received here, an absentee ballot will be sent back to them. They can vote in their own home at their own leisure, and that ballot will be sent back to the town hall. They can either drop it off in person, and there's a dedicated box out in front that I think you've both seen. It can be dropped off there. It can be mailed to the United States Postal Service. We're trying to do it so that those people that don't feel comfortable coming to the polls can certainly, express their right to vote. You can imagine with the number of people, and a lot of this is estimates, and trying to estimate how many registered voters in each town will be opting for this absentee ballot process, which is the reason that we have these 4 extra individuals that will be helping Judy and Christine. The other part of this is more of a heads up. I guess I want your approval. We don't have to vote on it necessarily, but I want you to be aware of it, and I want us as a board to approve this process. The other part of this is I had a meeting yesterday with the registrars, superintendent of schools, maintenance staff, Stuart Morris, chief constable, and myself over at the middle school. And because the polls for Woodstock is going to be the Woodstock Middle School gym. And we're working on that to social distance, specialized parking, handicap parking, vote from your vehicle. Again, we don't know how many people are going to want to vote in person, but we want to make darn sure that we can meet their needs. The staff at the middle school have been terrific, as was expected, and we were walking around yesterday figuring out what's going to go where, how we're going to deal with this. It's going to be one way in, one way out, and the doors will be out to the parking lot to the rear of the school. There'll be no access to the rest of the school because there were children going to school there at various times, and also we just don't want people wandering around. So they'll park behind the school. They'll come in a one-way entrance. They park. They go in one-way doorway. They're identified, show their IDs, get a ballot, vote, put it in a machine. They do the exit, get in their vehicle, and they'll exit another way. So that's about what it's looking for November general election.
I'm all in favor. I spoke to Judy recently, and she gave me a Reader's Digest version of the amount of paperwork that's going to be going through her office because of this situation. So the fact that you're offering some backup help, bravo, I appreciate that.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
We've lost Jay's audio.
You lost my audio.
Back.
I'm back?
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, we had to do it. And again, we've been planning this for months, but even here at the town hall, because a lot of things don't come from the Secretary of State's office. They come from an outside vendor out of state. I don't know where, but they do things alphabetically. And alphabetically, Judy told me this some years ago, alphabetically, Woodstock is the last one. Alphabetically, we're still waiting. Christine told me today that some things have arrived and she's trying to process what's come in. Certainly not everything has arrived. And again, there's time involved to get these applications out or requests to voters and to have their requests come back and then have a ballot go out and have the ballot come back, you know, this sort of thing. So that's what we're dealing with.
I'm on board and in favor.
Okay.
When will people be told that the polling place is not the town hall when it's the middle school?
We're in the process right now. In fact, I stopped at Sweet Evelina's and was talking to Polly last week, and I also saw her this morning. She asked and others asked, and we're going to be doing massive advertising, but we usually post things at Sweet Ev's. And we also, my wife suggested get some stuff up to the academy because a number of students there are old enough to vote. So we're going to be doing, and I mentioned this to the registrars yesterday, and I said we're going to need some sort of posters to go out into the community in addition to the advertising that will be into things like the Shopper's Guide or the Villager and that sort of thing. So, and
Maybe get a copy down to each of the post offices as well.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a mass information, you know, to get this thing out. And Greg, to your question of when, I can't tell you when, but we're very aware of the need for this because people have no idea. I mean, some people do, but a lot of people just don't. And a lot of them are saying, I'm sure, I'm going to express my right, and I'm going to go in person to vote. We certainly don't want them coming here to the town hall. So. Anything else with that or questions or anything?
I'm good.
Okay.
I have I guess one question here. The 4 individuals that were hired,
Yep.
do you know what their political party affiliation is?
What's that matter?
What does it matter?
Yeah.
I think if it's evenly divided, it ensures fairness, doesn't it?
No, not necessarily at all. I don't understand why that's pertinent. I mean, in other words, you're saying that somebody has the ability to change or skew what they're doing?
I don't have any idea what they're going to be doing. I just thought it would probably be just more assuring to the community if there was, 4 people, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, something like that, or 2 unaffiliated, just something like that. That's all. That's the only reason why. It's the first time hearing of this. So
Greg,
this struck me as odd. That's all.
when these decisions were made, that didn't even cross my mind.
Okay.
I was looking, it's sort of like the Marine Corps looking for a few good men. I was looking for good people, trusting people, et cetera, et cetera. The last thing I was going to ask them to do is what's their party? Now, I don't know if this is something that, I'm not going to address it because I don't care. If it's important to you, then maybe that's something you could contact the Secretary of State's office, something like that. I'm just trying to get the job done.
I appreciate that, Jay.
Okay. Do you want to move on?
Please.
I don't have any tax rebates.
Okay.
Correspondence?
You lost your audio. Can't hear you.
No.
Now. Oh, wait a minute. You're on mute.
How's that?
There.
There you go.
Okay, good. Okay, I've got a letter, September 10th. This is from Lieutenant Charlin at Troop D. It's just the summary of August Troop D calls in Woodstock. We had 100 calls for service during that month. There was 1 accident, 6 investigations, no burglaries, no larcenies, and 93 non-reportable matters. There were no traffic citations, written warnings, or DUIs. So I think that's good. The other thing I would like to point out to you, gentlemen, and everybody else, is given a lot of the issues that are going on in town with car break-ins and that sort of thing, I just find it's interesting, 0 burglaries, 0 larcenies. And this has been going on for a reasonable amount of time. The numbers are low, which I'm very happy to see, because again, we, a number of the towns, Northeast Connecticut, Eastern Connecticut, are having some major problems. I have a letter. I'm not going to read it to you, but because it was very nice. It was Jean Rochelow, and it with heavy heart and mixed emotions. She's submitting a letter of resignation as treasurer and Arboretum committee member effective September 30th. She's been doing it for many years, is extremely involved. I've met with her a number of times, but it's a thing of reality. There's been some life changes with her family, and she feels at this time it's appropriate to move closer to family members in Madison. And she said it's been her extreme pleasure working with the team at the town hall and how helpful the folks here have been. So anyway, we're going to be sending her a letter thanking her for her service.
It was a very well-written letter. I appreciated reading it.
Yeah, I did too. I felt very bad. And the other thing, and I kind of gave her a hard time, she was at a meeting with myself and some others here at the town hall, and the meeting finished and we all went our separate ways. And then she went around and passed this letter out in a sealed envelope to Judy, Christine, Karen, Diane Converse, and myself. And I called her on it and I said, hey, this wasn't very fair. I wish you had handed it to me and we could have chatted, but we had a nice conversation. But she was very sincere, nice lady. I have another letter from Nancy Adams, September 9th. She's been a member of the Palmer Arboretum Committee for the last few years. It's been a pleasure to help continue the mission of Minnie Palmer and her visionary gift of the Arboretum to the town of Woodstock. She feels, again, it's necessary for her to focus her time on her extended family and challenges during this uncertain times. She's tendering her resignation from the Arboretum Committee as of September 9th. So again, Nancy Adams, and nice person. I've got a letter from Teague. It's from Ann Miller, the executive director. And again, we see her, they frequently, at least monthly, will send their food truck over to Pomfret and also to here, to the town hall. And they've made a number of inroads with folks in town for issues around food, and also have gotten information out to residents of Woodstock on the other services they offer, which has been good. So it's worked out for folks in Woodstock. She basically is thanking us for, we're an on-site pantry with their monthly distribution. And also we do weekend food distribution, emergency food distribution, and holiday support. And they're just thanking us for our partnership with the Teague Art organization. Let's see. We also, and Dawn, I'm glad to see that you checked in, because one of the things that I mentioned to Victor when I was at the middle school. And I have talked a number of times to Rich Roberts, the town attorney. I can't find my notes. As I mentioned to you gentlemen last spring when it kind of hit the fan, that it bothered me under executive order that we can do a number of things which benefit the town. But personally, it bothers me because the town meeting form of government began in New England. And we have not been able to do that. But in talking to Rich Roberts and in talking to Victor Toth, and Dawn, the reason I'm recognizing you is we talked about this 2 weeks ago with the process that she's working with. I've got 8 or 9 individual things that would be appropriate for a town meeting. And I'm hoping we can do that. I also think that some town meetings, you have 5 people show up. Some town meetings, there's 100. And I think if we can firm up what the agenda is and advertise it strongly in the community, I think it's something we can manage. And the reason I say that is this particular town meeting is not going to address controversial items such as Buck's Ice Cream, Treehouse Brewery, and some of the other things that we had in the past that have created a lot of excitement, for lack of a better word. But I think these are things that have to do with the general well-being of the town, creating some ordinances that are necessary, changing some fees, which are necessary. But these are all things that should go to a town meeting and seek input from citizens. And I think if we, A, advertise it strongly, and I think, B, if we stress what the agenda is, we would end up with a group of people that we could physically manage. And also take into account that family units, husband and wives, or moms and children or whatever could sit together, but we would have enough room that we could put, chairs 6 feet apart, and this sort of thing. So,
Jay, if you went ahead and if we could pull this off, which I'm really excited about.
yeah.
Any idea how many people or how many families we could get into that building?
Victor gave me a number yesterday, and I can't tell you. It would only be in the gym. It would be similar to what we're doing with the polls there, except it would be static. We're going to have a meeting at this time. People come in, would sit, we have the meeting, people would leave. With the polls, people are going to be in and out. But yeah, we can get an idea of numbers. And I can't tell you how many family units. But the thing is, if a couple came in, they would be directed, hey, please grab a chair, you can sit together. And most times people come with other people. There were very few people that come to a town meeting alone.
True.
And I know, Dawn, I know you're concerned 2 weeks ago when we talked about the final permission, if you will, for the development rights to that farm, that you would prefer we go to a town meeting. And in talking to others that have approached me on various things, Crystal Adams started making a list, and I think we have 8 or 9 things. In fact, yeah, I'm not even going through them, but yeah. So I don't know if you have comments, questions, or do you think, I know, Chan, you and I have talked about this. Greg, do you have any feelings about this?
I think I appreciate what you're trying to do. I don't think, I know I appreciate what you're trying to do. There's no, and the middle school seems like about probably the best place for something like that.
Absolutely. It's the largest area that's open where you can move things around.
Is that bigger than the alumni field house at the academy, or I don't think it is.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But the academy is having their own issues with school and attendance and what have you.
Yep.
And I haven't even talked to them.
Okay.
The thing is, Greg, with the amount of square footage that we would need for a typical town meeting, again, think downstairs, the town meetings that we typically have here, in the conference room downstairs in the town hall. If we were to spread those people out, I think that gym would certainly be fine. The other thing is, I don't have a firm date on this. If, I'm thinking maybe late October or certainly after the election, because, Christine and Judy are going to be bears to live with between now and the election. So the other thing is, again, and the reason I mentioned months is there's no parking. We have the real lot, but otherwise it's parking on the common. Whereas the middle school, the rear parking lot is very, very good.
Yeah.
If we could get it done in October, that'd be great.
Oh, I know. And again, as Dawn had mentioned, she was hoping to get squared away on this development rights by the end of the year. So again, the earlier the better, but there's going to be a lot of planning that goes into this. So
Very good.
anyway,
Okay.
let us see. That's about it for announcements and correspondence. How about public comment? Dawn, Megan is with us, Paul, Diane. Yes, Megan.
So I think the middle school gymnasium would be large enough as far as space goes, but does the governor's 25-person indoor gathering apply? I mean,
No,
you can have it in the big enough space, but I haven't read every single executive order, so I don't know if that 25-person cap applies for something like a special town meeting.
It doesn't apply. Don't ask me why. I mean, I can get that information for you, but no, that 25 doesn't apply. It a wedding reception, or if you have a party, or that sort of thing. But I believe, and again, this is why I'm working with Rich Roberts, because I want to make damn sure that I'm on firm ground.
Okay. And I asked because we were cautioned as far as even having our Board of Education meeting, that should we try to meet fully in person again, that we would have to cap the in-person to 25, including the Board of Ed members.
Oh.
So, but
Okay.
I haven't talked to the Board of Ed's attorney about that. That's just what I had heard from an official from CABE. So I would certainly defer to Attorney Roberts, but that's why we're holding hybrid meetings now, where some of us are in the schools, but we're still hosting them on Zoom as well.
Okay.
Just in case we continue to have attendance like we have been, rather than going back to previous months.
Right.
I believe the town of Killingley recently had a town meeting.
I mean,
Several towns are having the town meetings, but they're outside, or that they're broadcasting them in different spaces, I guess. I know that some school boards their Board of Education, for example, will meet in the auditorium, but then they'll have some overflow in their gymnasium, and then they'll have overflow outside to put them in separate spaces. I don't know anything about the Killingley one. I just wanted to check and see if it would apply. I mean, certainly Attorney Roberts, I believe at the previous meeting, he mentioned something about having participated in drafting some of the executive orders. So,
yeah, one of the things that Rick mentioned to me, and one of the times we discussed this, is 8-town, and I've forgotten which one, did have a town meeting, but they had it at an athletic field,
Yep.
western part of the state. So, and you bring your own lawn chair type thing, and they did have it. But I want to be on firm ground, so I've been working with him. We had talked about a Zoom, and again, this is important, I believe, but he and I had talked about a Zoom town meeting, and he didn't feel that would work. And he said the reason is, and I remember this specifically, he talked about people that were disenfranchised. And that's people that couldn't participate either because they couldn't call in or didn't have a computer to participate. Because I asked him, I said, can we do a Zoom? Because we've added the number of people that we can have at Zoom meetings, depending upon what it is. And he felt it wouldn't be be appropriate to have a Zoom town meeting.
Yeah,
And there were no, go ahead.
I think there was a question about, sorry, I hear the echo. I think there was question also about checking the identification of people at the special town meeting for voting.
You're right. You're right. And he said, no, yes. And he said, the thing is, many times you have a phone number, you don't have a name. And who is that number? You know, I was at a meeting last night and there was a person who was calling in and I recognized the number, so I knew who it was. But that was another thing about, you're right, where you don't know who it is.
But I don't want to lengthen your meeting. I just wanted to ask about that 25 person limit.
Okay. Yeah, and again, that's something Rich and I are working through. But I'm also going to ask on your behalf, you know, I don't think it applies, but I can't tell you why. So, yeah, let me look in that.
Definitely, please.
The other thing too, just as an aside, the question came up, and I mentioned this, I think at our last meeting, about the governor's executive orders were slated to end, I think, September 9th, and they've been extended through February. And now my understanding is they were extended through November 9th. And I think what it is they're trying to determine which should be changed. Some of them should be changed. Some of them may be dumped as no longer appropriate. And there was a question about some new ones based on, you know, what they're seeing now with the executive orders. So I can't be firm on that. My original understanding was they're going to be through February. Now my understanding is November 9th. And at that point, they may at that point go through February. I don't know. And again, you know, it's sort of like the whole, you know, the public health department, et cetera, et cetera. This is such a changing environment. And it's almost like you try to make decisions and daily the advice changes, whether it's CDC, health department, whatever, you know, so it's trying times. Okay, anything else from citizens, please, or public? No? Okay. Any additional from Board of Selectmen?
Just an observation, Jay.
Yes.
We've lost audio from you probably a half dozen times during this meeting. And it's always when you get a little animated or sit back. When you're sitting straight forward, we don't lose your voice, but when you wiggle around, that's when it happens. So I don't know if do you have a microphone attached or are you just doing it to a computer?
I'm talking to a computer.
Okay, because for some reason, that's when it's happened, I've noticed.
So when I sit back, this is difficult to hear?
That's when we've lost it a few times.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Then I'll sit closer and I won't get animated. And I'll sit on my hands or whatever, you know? All right. All right.
I was going to say that. Sit up straight and sit on your hands. As I was just thinking it.
Okay. All right. Anything else from anyone?
Do you have
Yes,
anything to that you would like to share or add or about the gun range ads that have run in the Shopper's Guide? Anything you want to throw out there? People are just
What ads?
yeah, that I think so. Yeah.
Ads?
Don't get animated.
I'm not. I raised my shoulders.
All right. What can you say that you want to say? That's all.
No, I'm thinking about this because this is going to be in our minutes and it's going to be posted and people can read it and, you know, that sort of thing. Those of you that don't know, there's been ads run 2 weeks in a row in the Shopper's Guide and the Turnpike Buyer, a quarter-page ad on page 44, by the way, last week. An individual on Rocky Hill Road was talking about opening up a range for a variety of firearms. And I don't have it with me because I didn't know the question was going to come up. We had a number of calls here. I called the individuals back, or I was available to talk with them. And I pretty much allayed their fears and explained that this is brand new to us and we will deal with it. However, what people don't seem to understand is that's a wonderful idea. Greg, if you want to do that on New Sweden Road, I think it's terrific. Before you even start, what you might want to be aware of is the requirements by the town, the requirements by the state, background checks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this person, I talked to him personally, who's proposing this. He does have the acreage to do it. I did not encourage him, but he said, and this is a quote, if you will, he said, the way that people in general are, he figured he would put that out and kind of like, have the balloon go up and see what happens. And he figured after the dust settles, he may consider going along those lines of creating a shooting range. He hasn't done anything except run the ads, which has been very upsetting to neighbors on Rocky Hill Road.
Right.
And I've already talked to, I think, 6 of them. And I told Brenda Cottonwa, I texted her and I said, the ad ran a second week, we may get more calls. We have not gotten any more calls. I have gotten texts from friends and people that I know asking about it, and basically I've told them the same thing that I'm telling you. So I don't know if he was trying to get a rise out of people. Is there any, Chan, did you see those? Chandler?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. All right, and Greg, I know did. The thing is, personally, the language I found to be somewhat inflammatory. I'm a certified ranger officer. I'm a certified NRA instructor. I'm a senior instructor with the state of Connecticut in education and firearms safety. So from that background and point of view, I'm saying that I didn't like some of the language or the way the ad was written. But freedom of the press, any of us are allowed to put ads in the paper as long as we pay for them. You can pretty much say anything you want. And that's basically what I think this person was trying to get a rise out of people. And there's some other things involved too. There may be a question of whether or not he's trying to stop the sale of adjacent property by having someone not purchase a home, and we just don't know. But Greg, in answer to your question, we're dealing with it, and it's kind of died down for now. And he has been in touch with the zoning folks and that sort of thing. But there's going to be a lot. He's not opening tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of things he's going to have to do to get permission from the town, from the state, et cetera.
So one person, you might be interested in this. One person called last week, called me, and I checked with your office, got the up to date stuff, and got back to this lady, and then she called me again the other night saying they ran the ad again, so they must have gotten a permit. I said no.
You may want to caution some of these people that are calling you.
Yeah.
Seriously. I
Well,
mean,
the fact that they're calling and checking, that's fine, whether they're neighbors or not. But the bottom line, as you said, Jay, there's been no permit application. There's been no formal anything. So it sounds like we're trying to stir the pot and see what happens.
Right. That's what I told them, Chan. I said there's been no formal anything has been taken as far
And I've
as.
got a feeling that would be an incredibly well-attended public hearing.
Yeah, bigger than Bucks.
don't mention Bucks. Don't mention Bucks. No, seriously. Jan, you hit it on the head, because I got the distinct impression that this person's attitude was to stir the pot and to see what happens. Because he basically said that to me. He figured if he put this ad in, he would see what people's reaction would be. And then possibly, in fact, there's an email address as part of that ad. So, you know, there may be people emailing him that are interested and, you know, and that sort of thing. But he told me, he said, human nature, he said, I figured I'd put the ad in and maybe when the dust settles, I might go along this route, you know, but it was very much up in the air. But
Yeah.
the other thing, and Greg, you mentioned this, and I find this very interesting. You ran it for a week, but to run it 2 weeks, that just seems a bit strange to me. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have anything to say to that. Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate your comments, and can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
I appreciate your comments, Jay, and you know, thank you, and you speak for the board as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. Well, as I tell people, we, the three of us, are here for them.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Okay. Anything from the board or the folks that are tuning in, or anybody? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Would I hear a motion to adjourn? Greg?
Second.
All right. Unanimous. Thank you all for attending.
Thanks for coming.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.